Can't be afraid to talk about these kind of things, you know?
Talking to teenagers about sex can be a tough conversation to begin with. In a special report tonight, a few tips to help you get started.
You're watching the KUSI News at 10.
It's a wake-up call for parents. When it comes to sex, do you know what your teenagers are doing?
Statistics show that every hour, more than 400 young people in the United States are infected with a sexually transmitted disease. KUSI's Lene Lewis sat down with a group of girls to talk about the sex lives of local teenagers.
In many European countries, commercials promoting the use of condoms is commonplace. Talking about sex is apparently no big deal there compared to the United States. The teen pregnancy rates in Europe are lower, and many attribute those lower rates to that trend of being open about sex. According to Planned Parenthood, there are 10 times more teen pregnancies here in the U.S. than in the Netherlands, 5 times more than in France, and 4 times more teen pregnancies here than in Germany. American teens watching this educational video say attitudes towards condom use were different from anything they've seen here.
They seem to think it's more like a part of life that should be celebrated. It was like a condom party. They were everywhere. And here, you know, I don't think I've ever seen them in a drugstore.
And 17-year-old Alex, who is still in high school, says whether teens have them or not, from what she's seen, they're still having sex.
High school people use condoms a lot more, but I know kids that were having sex in middle school and definitely did not feel like going out of their way to get condoms.
The group acknowledged that a lot of parents would be shocked to know that kids, even in middle school, are having sex. But they say it's not necessarily something they feel comfortable discussing with their parents.
I've talked to friends, their attitude will generally be like, yeah, my parents told me this. They had no idea what they were talking about.
Suzanne Reno of Planned Parenthood says the lack of communication between parent and child regarding sex and condoms or contraceptives boils down to one thing.
We still as a culture don't know what we're most uncomfortable with. Is it really teen pregnancy, or is it really the idea of our teens having sex?
Having that talk about sex with your child is not an easy conversation to have. Here are some tips child psychologists and Planned Parenthood recommend. Speak directly to your teen. Use simple language that addresses feelings and activities. And don't wait until they're teenagers to talk about sex. Start early. Also, keep an open dialogue in which you communicate morals and values. But some in this group say that parents can alienate children by pushing their morals too much.
Once parents know, your kids are having sex, the next thing to do is not to try and impose those moral standards.
Exactly.
Because that's just going to make them feel really bad about it.
But that's what parents are supposed to do, right? Or no?
But they're not going to stop having the sex. They're just going to feel really, really guilty about it.
And they're not going to go to their parents.
And they're never going to go to their parents.
They say there are teens who will have sex no matter what their parents think they've taught their child to do, although they also say there are others who do choose abstinence. Bottom line, they say, it is all very personal, and those choices are respected among their peers.
I think it sort of depends on the attitude they take. You know, if you're a kid who's saying you're not having sex, and you shouldn't be having sex either, how can you be doing that to yourself? Then you're not going to talk to them. But no, there's some really cool kids who are doing that. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm a senior in college, and I have friends who are still virgins because they haven't found anybody who is worth it yet.
What these girls say they're concerned about is accessibility to information and protection for those who choose to have sex. Talking openly to parents is not always an easy or feasible option for everyone, but they hope one day a happy medium can be reached.
We can't be afraid to talk about these kind of things, you know? And when we're educated, we can make the decision for ourselves, but keeping us in the dark about it that's just going to hurt us, I think.
Lene Lewis, KUSI News.